I used to play a lot of different MMORPGs, growing up in the era when Blizzard's World of Warcraft had exploded into popularity, but not being willing to ask my parents to pay for a subscription to the game, I often defaulted to trying alternatives. What I probably played the most of was Guild Wars, mainly because I enjoyed trying to figure out the best way to multiclass. This is still one of the main ways I enjoy engaging with games like Dungeons & Dragons. I will spend hours just building out characters that I will never have a chance to play. However, after a few hundred hours, I found the combat wanting more. I developed this opinion that all there was to MMO Combat was to target an enemy and press the attack buttons. It felt repetitive, so I continued exploring action MMOs of various kinds. But no matter the dozens of attempts, nothing ever clicked, nothing ever felt enjoyable. The action never compared to Dynasty Warriors, Smash Bros, Devil May Cry, or any of the more directly focused action games I played on consoles. Even when MMOs were lauded for combat, like Black Desert, Terra Online, or Blade & Soul, I just couldn't be impressed. It wasn't until recently, when I stopped reaching for action games, that I finally understood what I was missing. I was watching one of my favorite streamers, PatStartesAt, playing the NieR Automata crossover event in Final Fantasy XIV. The NieR franchise had a unique approach to combat that combined the controls of a hack-and-slash Musou game, while enemy attacks drew from the bullet hell genre. The main appeal behind the bullet hell genre is all about precise execution of being in the right place at the right time to avoid enemy projectiles and maintain damage, and upon seeing the stylings of NieR's bullet hell on an FF14 raid, it finally clicked. MMORPGs are bullet hell games, where the bullets come up from the floor. Or maybe it is more accurate to say that the floor is the location of damage, regardless of how that damage is visually represented to the player. Leading visuals presented as geometric shapes indicate to players where to stand, where to look, or what defensive ability to use to avoid damage. Players are primarily engaged not by a reactive sense of flow, but instead on the pride of being able to execute on a plan in the most optimal way. In other words, on being in the right place at the right time to avoid enemy attacks and maintain damage. Truly, the most chaotic and reactive part of FF14's combat that is more akin to action games is responding to other players who haven't mastered the optimized rotation of their abilities. To a certain extent, I admit that this discussion feels a little bit reductive. I understand that MMORPGs offer many kinds of engagement outside of combat. Perhaps I would have found a reason to like more MMOs sooner if I was not entirely focused on that one aspect of the genre. Surely the socializing that takes place within an MMO is a far more important engagement than the combat. However, I no longer believe that the combat is an inferior version of gameplay that people tolerate for the sake of these other engagements that MMOs offer. But in order to understand, in order to see the appeal, in this case, it was not enough to try to express the appeal of this game, of this kind of gameplay to me in an abstract way. I had to connect it to other kinds of games that I enjoy. And perhaps this can open a path for me to reclaim my enjoyment of a genre that I lost long ago. Thank you for watching, my friends. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and consider buying my books. I will see you next time, and stay true.